Now, so I want us to look at the issue of the depositors. Should they now go to sleep with the two eyes closed based on this development?
I don't think that no depositor lost money in 2008, 2009, right? So the benefits of the intervention by Sanusi Lamido Sanusi in his time, the intervention by Godwin Emefiele, who says now publish all the names of bad debtors so that there's name and shame, the intervention of corporate governance and the rules of corporate governance as spelled out by SEC and other institutions. All of these things are beginning to play. You find that the level of financial abuse in the banking system has reduced significantly. Have people learned their lessons? Yes, they've learned the lessons. Will there be mistakes again? Yes, there will be mistakes. But the system is developed to a point where you can actually identify those who are charlatans or cowboys, and they'll always be taken out of the system.
I would like to ask you about the debt recovery mechanisms of our banks.
Yes.
How well has it improved? Because we've had challenges in the past on the ability to get back this debt, even after AMCON was actually established a few years ago. To what extent do you think have you improved on that mechanism?
I think that has improved because, first and foremost, there are credit bureaus. Before you can make a loan to anybody, you check the person's credit history. So if you are a serial defaulter, everybody would know. 2, there's the name and shame, the publishing of bad debtors. 3, if you are an AMCON, if you're an AMCON customer and you're not servicing your AMCON debt, you are not allowed, in fact, you're not, if you're an AMCON customer, you're not allowed to borrow elsewhere, right? So AMCON is known as the financial morgue of companies that are bad debtors. When you are in AMCON, you are actually in the mortuary. It's time for the post-mortem. So I think the system, the structure is such that it is more difficult to carry out financial abuse today than it was 5-10 years ago.
Aside the issue of financial abuse, the FCC, I was saying some time ago, that's the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it was saying that the central bank, that's a directive to commercial banks not to give loans to existing bank debtors. Should not be
defaulters.
Yes,
Defaulters, yeah.
Defaulters should not be encouraged because according to what the SEC was saying, that the issue of insecurity, circumstances beyond their own control was a major contributor to the fact that they couldn't pay back the loans. What's your comment on this? And what
I think that's an unfortunate remark by LCC. You cannot encourage people to be in default. Default doesn't start on one day.
It didn't actually encourage people to be in default, but what he's saying that perhaps there should be other mechanisms to which encourage lending.
There are other mechanisms, but the point is that when customers are in default, companies are in default, usually they need equity, not loans. Because you're not going to rob Peter to pay Paul. What they need is for the shareholders to put in additional money. It is when they start going around from one type of lender to the other, ending up in the hands of loan sharks, then they pile up debt and become like a pyramid scheme. What you need to do is to look for ways of actually raising additional capital. They need financial advisory firms, like we do, to advise customers how to restructure their balance sheet in such a way that 1, the debts are extended, 2, that there are additional equity, and 3, sell some assets which are not core assets of the business and put cash into the business. Those are the things. So to make a general statement that no, they shouldn't be blacklisted and all of that is wrong. You blacklist them. If you have a case, you come back and then it will be waived. But you cannot encourage deviant behavior, especially in the financial system that we have today.
I'd like to look at the regulatory framework in terms of the operation of our regulators in the financial markets right now. Do you think they've done well enough so far? Because all of the involvement of AMCON was the result of the fact that they have to set up an institution to absorb bad debts. But so far, how well have they done, and what do you think that they should do better going forward?
One way of looking at it is that if you go to a Chinese restaurant and you see Chinese people eating there, then the food must be good because they can cook it at home. Zimbabwe has just announced that one of their role models for intervening in their financial system is AMCON. They set up ZAMCO, right? When we did a peer review mechanism, I think Nigeria, AMCON was number 3 out of about 7 countries that we looked at. Is AMCON perfect? No. AMCON has because some of the AMCON customers are living large, in spite of the fact that they are owing, but that's part of the Nigerian psyche. But the reality is that the financial system is pretty much insulated at this point in time from those kind of shocks. But that's historical shocks. What we're talking about is preparing themselves for the future. The likelihood that depositors will lose money in this country, or in any country for that matter, is getting slimmer and slimmer because regulators are now being proactive. We now talk about what they call macro-prudential risk management. So apart from the micro risks, which is within the company and within the industry, there are other variables that could come in and make things difficult. Say, for example, you have a hotel, and now the Ebola thing comes up, and then you see traffic to the hotels drop sharply. It's not the making of the hotel manager. So there are situations like that where there will be intervention to support such extraordinary circumstances. But you don't go and institutionalize extraordinary intervention so that people use it as an excuse to create what we call the moral hazard. Where people just say, okay, government will always bail me out, therefore I don't have to do anything. In fact, if anything, it makes you behave badly.
All right, Bismark, I think we have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for your contribution to our topic, the AMCON's 2013 financial earnings. Bismark Rewane is the CEO, Financial Derivatives Company Ltd, and we've been examining the benefits despite the over 600 billion naira recorded in losses. There are still a lot more benefits that AMCON had brought to the Nigerian economy, not just the financial sector as a whole. And that'll be it here on Business Morning. We do appreciate your time with us here. For all of you out there who were able to take time out to watch the program, thank you so much for being a part of the show. I am Bolaji Akinwale. Bye for now.